solving linear equations. So take a second and try this one, or these 6 problems. All right, how'd it go? Hopefully pretty straightforward. You can do these in your head. In math, we put an X instead of a blank. Just makes it easier for us to manipulate things around. So notice when we solve these equations, I know you could do these in your head, but we always use the inverse operation. So the inverse of addition is subtraction is addition. So that allows us to get rid of it on one side and bring it over to the other side. So we only do that when we cross over the equal sign. So we want to get rid of this 2 on that 2x. So we're multiplying by 2, so we divide by 2. We always use our inverse operations. Okay, and this one's the same as that one. There. So here are the basic steps. Distribute, combine like terms, move the variable, move the numbers. So I know it's not a big deal. You can really do these two any 2 ways that you want, but I do suggest that you move variables first in general, 99% of the time. So just try that out and see how it goes for you. Okay, solving equations. Distribute first. So this 4 is here, so we're going to distribute that 4 through. Plus 8x plus 12. And when you do that, you'll notice that there are 2 sides of an equation. And we always have to keep them balanced, blah, blah, blah. But these 2 here are on the same side of the equal sign. When 2 variables, or 2 anything, are on the same side of the equal sign, when you combine them, you just combine them like normal. So here this would be 2x, because I'm doing -6 plus 8, and that's a 2. Notice no signs changed, nothing happened. So that's what you do. So now we want to get rid of the other, all the numbers over here, so that we have x just by itself. That's what we want to do. We want to solve for our x, so always start farthest away from your variable. So the 12 is the farthest away from the x. So 2 is closest, 12 is farthest. Start with the 12. So I subtract my 12 because I do the inverse operation, and then I divide by 2. Great. All right, this one. Now notice here, this is this is a subtraction problem. It's 8y minus this mess. So it's keep, change, change. Some people don't necessarily see that, but they see this, that there might be a 1 right there. There is a 1 right there, technically, so I can take that -1 and distribute it through. However you think of it, remember that -1 has to go to both the 5y and the 2. So when I do that, I get 8y minus 5y minus 2. So notice that sign change here on both of them. The 5y, the -5y, and the 8y are on the same side of the equal sign here. That was my son, my 4-year-old. 8y minus 5y was 3y, minus 2 equals 16. Add 2. Divide by 3. And y equals 6. Okay, so sorry if you hear this. My children are watching Wonder Pets. Very exciting. So y equals 6. You can go back and check it to make sure it works, but as long as you followed your inverse operations correctly, so subtracting went to adding, multiplying went to dividing, you should be okay. All right, let's try this one. Probably ask you to try it on your own first, and then see how you did. So distribute here. These 2 are on the same side of the equal sign, so that's adding those 2 together. Solve the 2-step equations. Now I need to take all of these and move them to the other side. So the 10 and the 3 need to move, so that's when inverse operations come into play. So I'm adding 10, so I subtract 10. And divide by 3. I get a fraction, and I live through it. Remember, leave it as a fraction. Don't change that. Okay, then here remember, you can think of this as having a 1 right there, but it is a positive 1, so nothing really happens. So it's 3x plus 2x. No sign changes when it's a positive 1, but this negative 2 must distribute through. It rhymes. So, but just be careful when you combine. You cannot combine these two first. You have to do multiplication. Order of operations, you've got to multiply first. Okay, negative 2x minus 4. I believe I did that. Now look on either side of the equal sign. There's the equal sign. Combine things. Now, when we combine here, remember, no signs change. So these two are the same. So I just got 5x. This one and this one are the same. 13 minus 4 is 9. Now we're changing over the equal sign. So when we change over the equal sign, we use our inverse operations. I like to move my x's. It doesn't matter which x you move. This is what I was talking about. Move your variables first. It makes it so you don't get a 0 on the other side, and tends to confuse people. Okay, and do your inverse operation. And your inverse operation. Nice. And finally, there's this one. The 0 freaks people out, so I like to do an example with a 0. But remember, zeros are numbers too. 0 is a number 2. Just like kids are people too. Okay? There used to be a TV show. Anyway, 0 is a number 2. Please don't forget that. It doesn't disappear. It's a number. So it's 7x. Remember that minus sign is like a negative 1. Okay, that 0 stays there. It's a placeholder. It keeps that side of the equation safe. These two are like terms. Combine them. And then solve. When I subtract 39 from 0, I just get negative 39. And x equals 13, negative 13. Okay, so if you hadn't done that, things would have been kind of messed up. So just be careful. Zeros are people too. And have a good day.